Hello, welcome back to Rockin' Cakes and Bakes. So today I'm going to show you how to get nice, crisp, clean lines and edges on your buttercream cakes. When I first started out baking, I struggled so bad with doing this. My cakes looked terrible. I couldn't get nice, clean lines and corners, and they were terrible. You don't want to see them. I'm going to show you a couple tips and tricks that I use personally to get this done. If you're interested in knowing what kind of equipment that I use in this video, check out the link for that video down in the description below. And before we get into it, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really helps out. Let's go ahead and get into it. I already have my American buttercream and my cake layers pre-made. I've also leveled off my cake layer. I also have the equipment that I'm going to need to go ahead and frost my cake, which is my bench scraper, and then my large and my small offset spatula. To start, I'm going to go ahead and frost and assemble my cake. I'm going to take a little dollop of icing and I'm going to go ahead and put that on my cake board. That is going to help adhere the cake layer to the cake board so that it doesn't slide off. I'm then going to take my cake layer and I'm going to put it onto the center of the cake board and then press down gently so that the cake layer adheres to the buttercream. Next, I'm going to do my filling layers of buttercream icing. I'm going to take some buttercream icing onto my cake layer and then just level it out with my offset spatula. If you're interested, I have also linked my American Buttercream Recipe in the description below. I'm then going to repeat this step with the next cake layer. For the top cake layer though, we're going to turn this one upside down. This is going to help us achieve crisp edges on the top of our cake. We're then going to do our cake's crumb coat. A crumb coat is a thin layer of icing which will help trap in the crumbs from the cake so that those crumbs don't get on the exterior layer of icing. So I'm just going to apply a thin layer of icing onto my cake using my large offset spatula. Once we have done our crumb coat, we're going to pop that into the freezer for about 5 to 10 minutes so that the cake is hard to the touch. We're then going to do our exterior layer of icing. I'm going to start with the top of the cake and just apply a decent amount so where you have a pretty thick layer, not too thick though, of icing onto the top of the cake. You don't have to get the top perfect. We're going to come back to that after we have done the sides of the cake. You are then going to ice the sides of the cake using our large offset spatula. Again, you don't have to worry about getting this perfect. We're going to go back over them with our bench scraper once we've finished the sides. Once we've finished icing the sides of the cake, we're then going to take our bench scraper and scrape off the excess buttercream. So when you're holding your bench scraper, you're going to want to make sure that it is flat on your board and hold it at a 25 to 30 degree angle with your cake. You're then going to rotate your cake stand, holding your bench scraper, and scraping off that excess buttercream. Once you've done the first pass of scraping off that excess buttercream, you're going to see some spots that maybe didn't get as much icing as other ones. Just take some icing with your offset spatula and cover them back up, and then we'll go back over them with our bench scraper. Once we've filled in all the gaps, you might see some air bubbles in your icing. So I'm not sure if you can see on video here, but I did have a few air bubbles in my icing. Air bubbles can occur if you've over-whipped your buttercream. To get rid of the air bubbles, what I like to do is I like to heat up my bench scraper with some hot water. So I'll run that bench scraper under some very hot water until it gets really hot, and make sure that you dry it off before you apply it to your cake, and then just go back over the sides of your cake with your hot bench scraper. Once we've gotten our sides nice and smooth with our bench scraper, we're going to finish the top of the cake. So I like to take my small offset spatula and then just gently fold over those edges of icing. I like to use my small offset spatula for this because I feel like it gets you a lot more control than what the larger one does. Once you've scraped over the sides of the cake, you might notice that you have some ridges and bumps on the top of your cake. If you have this, just take your bench scraper and go back over the top. When I'm doing this, I also like to heat up my bench scraper again with some hot water, and that'll help get a nice smooth finish. So the last step that I do is I will take some Viva paper towels. I found that only Viva works for this process because they have a nice smooth side. You'll see here that they have a rough side and a smoother side. Just make sure that you use that smoother side on your cake. But I'll take that smooth side and then I'll just gently press down onto my cake and get rid of any little bumps or creases that might still be on your cake. And the last step, once you've gotten a nice smooth finish on your cake, is just to clean off the cake board. I'm just taking a damp paper towel and then wiping any buttercream that might have gotten onto the cake board. Alright, and that was how to get nice, crisp, clean lines on your buttercream cakes. As a reminder, the link for all the tools that I use in today's video are down below. Please check that out if you're interested. And remember to like and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you next time. Thanks.